All right, everybody. It's Dr. Osborne. Happy Wednesday. I figured we want to talk about something fun today. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about vitamin D3. I know that's your number one thing that you were excited about today. So most people think about vitamin D3 as just, they don't think about it, right? Well, what I want to do is let you know that it's actually a powerful steroid hormone in your body, and it controls literally over 2,700 genes that are involved in controlling and modulating and accelerating your immune system. It stimulates soft tissue to remodel. In fact, it's made in your skin, and so when you sit in the summer sun, that you get it. Most people, if they engage in about a half hour of full body sun tanning in the summer, they'll make about 20,000 units a day. That's a much higher dose than most doctors recommend, but when are doctors right? So when most doctors usually say you should take between 400 and 800 IUs a day, that's not nearly enough to keep you healthy. So do what you would normally do is to get out in the sun, but when there's no sun right now, we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So apparently high doses of vitamin D3, they've been shown to rev up your immune system so much so that it can kill off pretty much any virus that it encounters before it actually has time to infect your cells and really start creating damage in your body. So it seems that boosting vitamin D3 right now, it's going to dramatically, it's not going to make you virus proof, but it's going to give your body the tools that it needs to have to become stronger. The great majority of flu epidemics, they always occur in the cold winter when there's low or weak sun months, and they just magically seem to dissipate in the spring when the days become longer and the sun becomes stronger. This pattern happens again and again and again every year, and it's interesting that President Trump had even suggested that this new epidemic would begin to dissipate in April. Well, I've been listening to the news, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people and doctors trying to explain this. But what they're also talking about is the seasonality of the flu, and it suggests that warmer weathers make it more difficult for the virus to survive outside of the body. Look, everybody has their opinion. I believe this untrue, right? Viruses thrive in your body at 98.6 degrees. That's what humans are, the 98.6 degrees. So you would think that cold weather would be bad for viruses. They also have been repeating this close contact during winter month myth. And think about that. Like, you literally don't see people swimming in public pools, playing touch football. Nobody's playing softball and playing soccer, picnicking, barbecuing in the winter, do you? Like, literally, the winter is usually the time that we have the least amount of contact with people, but it's also the time that even though we have the least amount of contact, it basically is the time that we have the most amount of flu. Most epidemics actually go away in the spring and the summer. And that's really because the population that we live in, our overall vitamin D3 levels go up when we have stronger sun. And I think that's an important thing to look at. It's not that it's always not the host, right? It's not the virus, but it's the host. So if you give the host what it needs, it's going to be able to get stronger there. And that vitamin D3 is what it does is it makes our immune system stronger. It makes us much more responsive to a lot of the viral challenges that we have there. The other thing is that it's been found that vitamin D3 is 10 times more effective at preventing the flu than the flu vaccine. And this is just one study that was done, but it's really important that when you give your body what it needs, it's more powerful than anything that man can think of. So when they studied people that were vitamin D3 deficient, what they found was that most of those people they get sick, and so people that they get sick for a lot of times they'll get sick for a few weeks, right? And no matter what you do, your immune system's going to figure it out. It's going to slowly figure it out, and it's going to slowly find out a way to kill that virus. But what if we could make this process much quicker? Like maybe 12 hours instead of 12 days there. And then these people would maybe not even get sick from the flu, but they would actually, and even if they did get through there, they'd actually be able to maybe recover a lot quicker. So the fast-moving D3 charged immune system would really have stuff under control right off the bat. When people with they have high D3 levels, their immune system's revved up, and they're likely going to encounter people. These are the people who might test positive for like any virus, but they never get sick from it. And I wonder that's the question is, why aren't they asking the question is, why are these people testing positive that have never been sick? they call them carriers, or maybe they're just healthy. I mean, you look at like that Diamond Princess cruise ship, and on that Diamond Princess cruise ship, there was, 622 people or 621 people that had tested positive. 322 of the 621 people on there tested positive, that showed no symptoms at all. So like half the people that tested positive had zero symptoms. What was the difference? What were they doing that made them virus proof on that ship? What was the difference that made them sick proof on this ship? What I will tell you this is that, there's if you look at the Vitamin D Council, I actually have put a video together once that was on and you can find it on our YouTube site. It was 101 reasons to take vitamin D. Literally, vitamin D is crucial. It's crucial for good health, and it may be one of the simplest solutions to a wide range of health problems that are out there, from diseases of the eyes or diseases of the bowels, or conditions that are rooted in chronic inflammation and immune dysfunction in particular. I know I'm talking a lot about vitamin D3, but what happens also is vitamin D3 deficiency is common around the world, even in sun-drenched areas. Yet many people, including physicians, they literally are unaware that they may be lacking this important nutrient. Even the Indian Medical Council is pushing for a nationwide awareness campaign, noting that the vitamin D deficiency is really prevalent in India, and it's making more people chronic to vulnerable diseases such as diabetes and heart attacks and stroke and cancer and things along that line. So despite its name, vitamin D is actually, like I said earlier, a steroid hormone, which you get primarily from sun exposure or supplementation, along with many other foods. And many of its benefits are due to its ability to influence your genetic expression. So a lot of the researchers have discovered that vitamin D is involved in the biochemical machinery of all cells and tissues in your body. Hence, when you don't have enough, your entire body struggles to function optimally. So I'm going to review a few more recently appreciated health conditions in which vitamin D deficiency has played a significant role. As a general rule, it's wise to improve your vitamin D status regardless of what ails you. But if you do suffer from any of the following conditions, optimizing your vitamin D is clearly indicated. So remember that while sunlight is the ideal way to optimize your vitamin D, winter and work, they prevent more than 90% of those of you listening to this right now from achieving ideal levels without supplementation. The only one to know, the only way to know that you really have therapeutic levels of vitamin D is to measure it. Most of us aren't measuring it. So let's just be proactive. Clearly, the sun avoidance is a major factor and is a part of the problem. And it's important to weigh the risks of the versus benefits when it comes to sun. Contrary to popular belief, which states that sun exposure in general promotes skin cancer, and sensible sun exposure may actually help you prevent not only skin cancer, but many internal cancers as well. And it's probably because of the vitamin D that you're actually getting. However, most of us don't stay out in the sun, long enough. And the biggest problem is when you stay out too long and you get burned. There's also ample evidence showing that sun exposure really is an ideal way to optimize your vitamin D levels, but supplements and food can also be used. So to reap the maximum benefit, you need vitamin D levels to get to at least 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. More ideal is about 50 to 70 nanograms. And to get there, you might need to be taking a minimum of 5,000 to 6,000 units a day of vitamin D from all sources, which would include sun and UV light, and from maybe a tanning bed, vitamin D supplements and food. Actually, in recent years, researchers have determined that vitamin D is actually more common in food than actually previously thought. It's not going to be common in your frozen pizzas, but until recently, we just didn't know how to measure it. And this explains why people who take supplements and rarely get sun exposure may still have higher levels of vitamin D in their serum than they would normally get, and it's because they're getting it from the diet. There was an interesting article, and they talked about, although few foods contain vitamin D, significant amounts of vitamin D, important sources of your diet would include things like fish and fish and what is it? I just had a brain fart there. Maybe I need to take some more omega-3s. But fatty fish like salmon and tuna, fish liver oil like cod liver oil, and eggs. Small amount of vitamin D were also found in beef liver and cheese and other dairy products there. It's also known to combat infections and to strengthen your immune function. And researchers have actually suggested that vitamin D supplements are easy and affordable way to fight serious infections like HIV even. There's a team that actually looked at, or there were researchers from the United States and South Africa, and they looked at 100 Cape Town residents between the age of 18 and 24 to actually see the impact of sun exposure and dietary vitamin D and their genetics and their skin pigmentation. But they also look for signs of improved HIV. And after accounting for all the things like diet, genes, and skin color and sun exposure was found to be the strongest determiner for vitamin D in your blood. So look, most of us are sheltering in place and it's raining outside. What do you got to do? You got to supplement there. So during the winter months, the D deficiency was common between all the participants and regardless of their skin tone. So in terms of effect the vitamin D had on HIV, they found that it reduced the HIV replication, it increased white blood cell counts, and it even helped to slow the progression of the disease. So I don't know. I think one of the things that is important is that if you can get to the point right now that we're talking about, it's important to be able to take your vitamin D. It's important to be able to have your those vitamin D levels up there. I'm, like I told people before, I'm taking 20,000 units a day, some with my family. But I would suggest that, I talked to one of the manufacturers and they said that they're also running out of vitamin D right now because so many people are taking it. So if you need it, let me know. But make sure you just take care of yourself. All right, guys, I love you. Just a little vitamin